Hey guys, welcome back to another Punchball devlog. I am super excited to share this one with you guys because I finally solved the issue I was having with the World 2 buttons. I'm always learning something new when I'm making Punchball, and I'm super happy to finally get this solved. So stay tuned for another awesome Discord user who saved my new butt yet again. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first item on the checklist was solving that dang button issue. I decided to loop back around through my normal troubleshooting just to make sure I had all my bases covered. But just like last time, none of the steps worked, so I decided to reach out for help again. Yes, I say again because I tried reaching out to my normal servers and none of them helped me this time, so I had to get help from elsewhere. Luckily, I found a server with a certain dev who helped me isolate the issue down to the root cause, and we eventually figured it out. Before we continue, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to BD Games. He's actually the developer on the Discord server who helped me solve this issue that we're about to show here. Keep in mind that in the next parts, I forgot to hit unpause in OBS, so there's no footage for some of the stuff that we did. I'm going to show as much as we can. As far as BD Games goes, he does not have a YouTube, but he does have a Twitter, which I will leave in the description. Please go check him out, check out the games that he's doing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and continue on with this process here. Alright, so what we did first is we did some basic tests of the buttons and made sure everything was set up correctly. I had done this multiple times before, so I was pretty sure it wasn't a problem, but it's always good to try. So after doing that and not getting anywhere, we tried making sure the scripting and the selections were correct. Everything was indeed correct. However, BD Games, the person I had helping me, had me enter in a different set of code to see if that would help. I'm not a huge fan of this method because most of the time the alternative code is very complicated. And most of the time, it's not the line of code that's the problem. But I gave this one a shot because this code was a bit easier to understand. As luck would have it, the new code still did not work. We then moved on to troubleshooting the button itself. Just like I had done before, we created a new button, but this time I left it as is, and yet again it wasn't working. We then took a look at the inspector to see if any of the button settings were either incorrect or changing during gameplay. Everything, as usual, was correct. BD Games then asked me if my button was actually clicking. I had noticed that the buttons don't turn gray like they normally do, so we added some debug log commands and changed the button pressed color to red to see if they actually were clicking correctly. And they were not. This opened up a new tunnel for troubleshooting because we then knew that the buttons themselves, for whatever reason, were not working. After several minutes of contemplation, BD Games asked me if I had an event system added to my world. I honestly never heard of this term, but after searching in the hierarchy, I couldn't find one. I decided to go back to World 1 and search for it there, and dun da da da! There was an event system! We found our problem! As soon as I added in the event system in World 2, everything worked like a breeze. I am so glad I was able to get this solved, but I have no idea why these things slipped me. Either way, we were all good and another obstacle had been cleared. At this point, it was time to get World 2 set up. This time, I decided to get all the buttons and world advancements done before I started on refining the gameplay, as I figured it would be easier to advance if everything was already set up. I started this process by opening up each level or scene in Unity and adding them to my Unity build settings. That way, when I make the next level buttons, Unity has them set and I won't have to do any more work. I also decided to take note of each world's index number over on the right because I decided I was going to use that instead of my level string name in my code so it doesn't run clunky. It just knows what level to load. After everything was added into the build settings, it was off to the long process of creating the script that holds all the functions for switching scenes. The scene switchers I made for World 1 and World 2 are probably the longest bits of code that I have ever written, simply because of the amount of functions I have to write. And And it's not terribly fun code to write either because it's all mostly the same. Either way, I got those done and the script as far as advancing levels was ready to go. It was then time to start setting up the next level buttons. What I would do here is assign the next level button to the level it was supposed to go to. In this case, one level up from where it is now. Then I would run the game to see if the button worked. If it did, then the game would advance to a page with nothing but the 4 starter balls. At that point, I know everything is working. After that, I would copy and paste everything in the scene from the canvas where all the UI is stored, all the way down, and then paste it to the next level. Now, I did have to make extra additions when I copied everything over. The game enabler was missing its 4 starter balls, so when I would start the game, it would start without the beginning pause. Then, after the next level was set up, I would repeat the same process again with setting up the next level. Okay guys, so just as a quick little side note here, my USB camera is broken. I have no idea how it happened, but you know, it is what it is. I'll order a new one as soon as I can. At this point, it is December the 27th. I am continuing on DevLog 8 because I have been slacking and I'm tired of slacking. So this video is going to be like 3 months late, but I'm tired of slacking, so I'm going to be working on it. Another quick side note, I have also cut down my workload for the game to, instead of 10 worlds each with 10 levels, only 5 worlds with 10 levels. So the game will have a lot more progress done in a lot quicker time. So back to the devlog. After a long while of setting up and testing the next level buttons, I would then go on to complete the restart buttons, which just restart the current level that you're on. Unlike World 1, I did not create new functions for the restart button though. What I did instead is use the same functions for the next level, as it would work the same either way. If I hit the restart button on the level that you're currently on, it would just restart the level that you're currently on, which end up saving up a lot of time. The last and final step in the button making process was making the reset high score functions and making the buttons actually work. For this, I wrote the script, set up the button for level 1 in World 2, and tested it to make sure that the score could be reset. It indeed was. Then I wrote a debug.log function that would give me a text in the console that would tell me if my function worked, and then set up all the reset high score buttons, tested them, and they all work. At last, World 2 was fully set up. Now next on the agenda was refining World 2 Level 1. I adjusted things like the score, time, and even the functionality of the sniper balls in order to create an ever-increasingly difficult game, but still make it fun to play. Balancing out the game has come to be my favorite part of game development, and also the most pain in the butt. But I guess balancing anything always is a pain in the butt, so I guess I shouldn't complain. At level 5, I decided to add in 2 extra sniper ball spawners and then have them spawn after each other and then all together. It took a minute to get the times just right, but what I decided to do was make spawners 1 and 3 spawn every 15 seconds and then spawners 2 and 4 every 30 seconds. What this ended up doing was increasing the scoring potential by a considerable amount. I was getting into the high 200s on my test, and I ended up making level 10's minimum score 250. Because of this, another thing I decided to do was after level 5 not mess with the time and leave it at 1:30 rather than decreasing it. This will provide a little bit extra consistency, and in its place, I decided to gradually increase the minimum score for each level by 10 points. After some playtesting and correcting a couple of bugs, I had finally done it! World 2 was completed, and I'm surprised how efficient I was in doing so. I remember taking a much longer time to complete World 1, and it was a very, very tiring process. I think it might have been a combination of me feeling a lot more productive after recently solving that initial button issue I was having, plus the fact that World 2 was a lot simpler and I didn't need to change its mechanics all that much. And there you have it, folks. This is the end of my work on World 2. World 3 is coming up shortly, and I think I want to do something with the tiny balls or the Debbie Downers, not sure which one yet. I already have an idea for a world with Debbie Downers that despawn as soon as they hit the ground. However, that may be safe for World 4. If you guys like these videos, please leave a like and subscribe. I've been getting a lot of personal support from other streamers, YouTubers, and developers on Discord, so any other support from you guys would be greatly appreciated. Also, please check out my Instagram and my Facebook page. The links will be down in the description. And I'm working on a Discord server as well that I will announce soon. Another quick couple of announcements if you didn't catch it in the beginning of the video. Punchball will be out a lot sooner than expected. I've cut down my workload from 10 worlds, each with 10 levels, to 5 worlds, each with 10 levels. And then the other 5 I'll probably add in as a later update. So at this point, we're almost done with the world, which means we're going to start doing aesthetic, sounds, and music. And we'll begin starting things such as new trailers, advertising a heck of a lot on social media, and trying to advertise elsewhere, so be prepared for that. And I'm also planning on doing an early access release. This is, that you'll be able to pay a certain amount of money in order to get the game early, so I'm planning on doing that. So please stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, guys, have a blessed day, stay safe, and as always, don't forget your coffee.